Welcome to a top-down analysis of Bitcoin. So starting on the monthly, we can see that we've clearly been trending up since December 2022. So it is in the fourth quarter of the fourth year of this Bitcoin cycle. So we are expecting a top around this time if previous cycles are anything to follow. However, I have a sneaky suspicion that things may be different, but that's yet to be seen. For the time being, we've swept this previous quarterly high. And from there, we've had that sell-off from that massive liquidation event. And what we did was we popped into this monthly order block. In addition to that, we also had a reaction off of the 0.5 level of this previous monthly wick, which is significant because that wick is also an inefficiency. So yeah, nice little bounce off the 0.5. And so we can then drop down to the weekly. And on that weekly, you can see that 0.5 of the monthly wick. Nice reaction there from the liquidation events. But when we look at that actual wick from the liquidation events, you'll see that we've actually bounced off of the 0.75. This is the level I gave out in the Discord, and that's provided some really good bias. When we look on the 4 hour, we can see that we respect this level really nicely. And yesterday we then had a change in the state of delivery on the 4 hour. We then sold off, and from that level, I think we had nice confluence with Ethereum, which we'll be doing the analysis on next. And so what we're currently trading up to is the previous day high from Thursday. In addition to that, we also have the previous day high from Wednesday, and this is then Monday's high. So there's plenty of buy-side liquidity above. And quite frankly, from a bullish perspective, if we want to see this high time frame continue from this level, which it can, I would prefer to see this wick swept, mostly because that would allow Ethereum to make a higher low, which is the chart for me that's giving the bias, which we'll get to next. But for the time being, I want to see the reaction from this previous day high, simply because it's the start of the week, it's Monday, and if we're trending up into buy-side liquidity at the start of the week, we're more than likely going to trade down for the rest of the week. So it's either that we, get a rejection from this level and trade low, or perhaps even, from Tuesday and Wednesday's high, or maybe we even just expand through it. So that's what I'm looking for at the moment. What reaction do we get off this previous day highs? Because here's the thing: when we go back to the weekly, this level is also a weekly order block, which is significant because that order block was formed after we swept the previous quarterly high, which is also the previous weekly, etc., etc. So, we're coming into high time frame resistance. So when we drop back down onto the daily, for example, you can see we are trending straight back into, or rather moving straight back into this weekly order block, which is where those previous day highs are. Now, here's the thing. If we do expand through those levels and just short squeeze, because I'd imagine a lot of people have gone short over here after that liquidation events. And so we could see a squeeze. Now, if we do, here's the thing. We've then had expansion met with expansion, which typically leads to reversal. And if we get a daily close above this area is an exceptionally sensitive area to watch. Now, what could happen is Bitcoin moves into this area and consolidates, which would allow Ethereum and altcoins to run. Personally, I would prefer us to get rejected at these levels and trade lower to sweep this wick. And then that would allow for more upside. In addition to that, we're coming into the second, it's the latter part of October. I wouldn't mind if we were taking out this sell-side liquidity going into the start of November, because then it's more likely that November and December is going to be bullish, which we're all expecting a bullish quarter 4. or so they say. So we'll have to be waiting and watching to see what happens this week. Of course, there's delayed CPI data that's being released on Friday. Bitcoin should be sensitive to inflation data since it's a hedge against inflation. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. I do think the psychology of the market is short, and of course, late shorts are going to get punished. So I'm waiting to see what the reaction is at these levels, at the previous day highs, which are relatively equal highs. So there's plenty of buy-side liquidity that's stacked above this, which could offer us this short squeeze straight into into Monday's high. So don't forget, we got that weekly resistance over here. So for the rest of the week, I'll be watching to see what exactly happens from these levels. And I'm glad my alert came up there for the CME futures Bitcoin charts. And the reason being is because I just want to point out on that chart looks very different, simply because we didn't have that liquidation events that occurred on that chart. Now here's the thing. At the start of September, everyone was expecting lower, and on the spot charts we actually swept the previous month low, but we didn't take out these equal lows that were left behind on the CME futures charts. So in fact, sorry, this was the level I was looking at. So apologies, actually it was that. Yeah, so there was the relative equal lows, and that was the level that came and got taken out. And so if we see a kind of V-shaped recovery from this level, it's perfectly permissible. And the cool thing is, if you're bullish, this is just a massive macro range of which we've now swept the macro lows. All right, so I say macro because it's been a few months now. So going back to the monthly, if we do happen to fail this level and drop lower to sweep these lows, we do have this monthly fair value gap, which also coincides with the yearly open, etc., etc. So that's a level to watch. If we do lose the level where we're currently at, say for example we get rejected at these previous day highs, then we've got this monthly level behind us, below us, which will be quite bullish, because this low over here, if there was any longs that got involved, they could get punished, shorts could get punished, longs could get punished, and then that would allow us to have a really good move to the upside from the yearly open, monthly level, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the analysis for today. See you guys tomorrow. Cheers.